You're looking at my dinner. Homemade French toast. That's homemade bread. I put some cocoa powder in the bread to make it look chocolatey. We got yogurt mixed with cocoa powder and frozen blueberries and raspberries mixed in, topped with half a serving of almonds. I used 3 eggs to make the scrambled eggs with some cinnamon and vanilla, and that was delicious. And that had a ton of protein, very healthy, good refueling meal. So that was about 800 calories. And then after I was done eating that, I had a craving for something savory. So I took some cabbage, which is about to go bad, and I mixed it with 2 eggs and a whole bunch of pepper and salt, garlic powder, topped it with some mozzarella cheese, diced up a few sausages, and tossed that in there. And that was actually probably the most satisfying meal I've eaten all day. So I guess when all I eat is fruit and yogurt, something's missing, and that's literally any kind of animal product. So eggs mixed with a little bit of meat and cheese really hit the spot. So all in all, about 1,200 calories and a metric ton of protein. So going down this image here is a recap of what I ate today. I started the day with a yogurt and nut bowl. I had another yogurt bowl, this time no nuts, and then I had another yogurt nut bowl, this time with peanuts and more of like a vanilla peanut butter style. So the first 2 were chocolate. The peanuts and the peanut butter powder have more calories than Hershey's cocoa powder or just cocoa powder and almonds. So it's always going to be more caloric going the more peanut butter route, but I like variety. And then, of course, we have the 2 items together that were my dinner tonight after the run. You can see that I ate 2381 calories today. I exercised 1631 calories, and I'm ending the day at a 1040 calorie deficit. If I ended every day at a deficit like this, then assuming that the exercise and food are calculated correctly, because they both could be calculated incorrectly due to a whole lot of factors that I'm not going to get into, but I do the best I can, then I would lose 2 pounds in a week. And let me tell you, that's not going to happen. So there's probably something wrong here, but I have been losing weight, so this is fine. Almost walked 30,000 steps today. Got a morning walk in where I was able to talk to my parents and also get my car taken to the repair shop. Someone hit my car yesterday, light damage, getting that taken care of. Got another walk in during lunch while I listened to some people talk about stuff in a work meeting. It's always good to take meetings remote if you can. And then, of course, run team practice at the end of the day. I'm not going to zoom in on the nutrients, but I got all of my nutrients for the day. If you get into calorie counting, it's not enough just to make sure that you hit your calorie goals. You need to make sure that you hit your fat, protein, fiber goals and your vitamin and mineral goals as well. And hooray, I hit them all. Got tons of iron. Lately, iron has been the thing that I've been struggling with. I was getting a lot of iron from mushrooms and spinach, but now that I'm not eating a 3-pound salad every day and I'm being lazy and only eating a 3-pound salad every few days, sometimes I miss my iron goals, but luckily got it all today. Got a ton of protein today and a lot of fiber, and I did not go over with my saturated fat, which is a big deal because doctor said high cholesterol, so got to be careful with the saturated fat, although I think the doctor might not actually know what they're talking about because there's big and small LDL cholesterol lipids, and if you have a lot of dense LDL lipids, it's actually safe, and the doctor did not go into detail about whether or not my LDLs were big or small, but I'm going to play it safe, go low with the saturated fats, and I am planning to see a nutritionist, a licensed nutritionist referral from the doctor eventually sometime this month, so be on top of that. All right, so how did my run team practice go? Well, 13.38 miles. Yeah, this is my 3rd run that is a half marathon or longer. I did a 17-mile run this last Sunday. That was insane. That's the longest run I've ever done in my whole life, was 17 miles this last Sunday. And it wasn't just 17 miles, it was 17 miles running up and down hills. Only 4 miles, actually less than 4 miles, probably like 3.5 or 3 miles, were on flat paved road, and that was just running to and from the mountain. I spent the entire other 13 or so miles of the 17 miles running up and down a 3-mile hill. I don't know. There's something about trail running and hill running that makes me happy and makes me feel like I can go all day. You would think that running on flat paved ground would be easier than running up and down literally mountains. But no, something about running up and down mountains just makes it so my bones and joints don't hurt as much, and I'm happier and I can go longer. So I plan to start doing a lot more trail running and a lot less path running. But today was a mixture of both. So on this map here, this thing I'm pointing to is actually the track, and everything else is running up out to the dam. That's a paved, or no, not paved. That's a dirt path. And then this section right here is the dam itself. So I got to practice 2 minutes late, and so the team had already taken off on their way to the dam. So I ran as best I could, and I had to stop a few times from knee pain from Sunday, but walking 50 feet fixed it, and it was fine. So I actually caught up to the team at the first hill here and managed to mosey on with them over up to the dam where I was there for the team photo and all that. So that was cool. I was there for that. Coach wasn't here today, and so almost no one showed up. There was only 10 or 15 of us tops. And so it was a real skeleton crew type of run practice today. Anyway, so after taking the group photo, we ran up and down the dam, and I went the maximum that was recommended, which was 6 times. And I'm not sure, but I think that the dam is 400 meters up, so I ran a mile and a half just up pure dam. It's like a mile and a half of running up a dam, because ran up 6 times. 6 times 400 is 2,400. That's a mile and a half. Cool. So then on the way back, I had a lot of gas in the tank, and everyone was chatting, but I wasn't in too much of a chatty mood, so I was kind of leading the pack. And the fastest runner in the group at the time, and he's probably the second fastest runner on the team overall with over 100 runners, he caught up to me at the bottom of the second hill, and I immediately turned to him and I said, "Yo, want to do 1 minute on, 1 minute off?" And he said, "Yeah, let's go." Click, bam, we go. 100 meter, but actually it was more like 350 meters, like almost a quarter mile, because this guy is crazy fast. So we're running and he's going really fast. I'm going 90%, 85, 90%. Like, feels like I'm almost sprinting. We're flying. I'm trying to keep up with this guy. I've tried to keep up with this guy before because he is one of the fastest people on the team. He's probably the second fastest runner on the team. The first fastest runner on the team is an inhuman machine. He does ultras. He's just on another level. This guy, he's also way above me, obviously. But he's not like the ultra guy, but he's like probably the second or third fastest runner on the entire team. So I've tried to keep up with him and the group that can keep up with him before, and I've failed every time. But today it was just him and I. And so I think he was going slower for me, but it was still the fastest I could possibly go. So we do the first 1 minute on, which is about a quarter mile, 350, maybe 400 meters. And I'm okay. I can talk, but it was hard. And I think there's no way I'm going to do the next 3. We jog for a minute to cool down. The second 1 minute on comes up. So we're doing it, and I'm really breathing hard. And I need the entire minute to cool down. I just can't talk at all, really. So the third minute on comes around, and I say to him, I don't even remember what I said to him, but I was thinking in my head, I probably can't do this. Like, I'm going to fall behind. Because that's what's happened every time I've tried to do anything with this guy and the people as fast as him. Is I keep up with them for a little bit, and then I just fall behind because they're just way faster. They can go way longer. But I somehow made it through the third minute on. And by this time, he knows I'm struggling. Because he's running with me. I'm keeping right abreast with him. He sees me struggling. He hears me breathing and panting. Like, he knows. Siri. Anyway, so he's giving me pointers, and he starts calling it out. 1 minute, let's go. 20 seconds. And then when there's only 15 seconds left, 45 seconds. And then when there's only 10 seconds left, 10 seconds. He's calling these out. He's fine. He can talk. He's running fast, but he's fine. But me, I'm almost dying at this point. We fly past walkers and people walking their dogs, and he shouts out, because I can't talk. He shouts, "On your left!" like really loud, because we are running as fast as people that are flying down the hill on their mountain bikes. Like, we are going very fast. We were running I think 5-minute miles if you were to take the times. Like, I was running so fast that when I was taking my steps, I had to purposely think about pushing, like launching myself with my trailing foot. And it felt like just one wrong move. Like, if I blinked wrong, my foot would come down on the gravel wrong and I would just eat it. And I've only ran that fast a few times before. This was taking everything out of me. So we finished the third 1 minute on, and I can't talk. And there's it's been 45 seconds of rest, because we're still running, but we're jogging. That's how you rest on a running team. You never stop. And I turn to him and I say, "Man, I don't think I can finish this one with you, but I'm sure gonna as hell try." And he goes, "And 1 minute, let's go." So there I go with him, and he's calling it out. 20 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds. And when he calls out 45 seconds, I can't do it anymore. And I start to fall behind, and I'm like, "You did the first 3. You couldn't do the 4th. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep running as hard as I can, even though I'm falling behind. And sure enough, with only 10 seconds left, I fell behind by 10 or 15 feet. So if it was a race, obviously he would have won. I mean, if it was a race, he would have trailed me in the dust, because I think he was going slower for me. But I catch up to him within 5 seconds once he goes 1 minute, and I catch up to him immediately, because I have the momentum. I'm sprinting. And so on the way back to the track, he just, he high-fives me and he gives me advice. He tells me about how I should focus on lifting my knee up higher when I'm going for the speed. I can't remember what else he told me about, but he started talking about how when he was in high school, his coaches trained him to perfect his running form. And I just kept thinking, dude, I started running 8 months ago, and I joined the team 2 months ago. I don't know jack about running, and everything you are saying right now is gold to me. I mean, I didn't tell him that, but he probably knows that. I basically told some of the people on the team, hey, I'm super new into running. I appreciate all the feedback and tips you give me. And I did tell him, I said, hey, I really appreciate all the advice you're giving me. So, he knows I want to get better. I've told him before. The elite runners on the team know. A lot of the runners on the team know. I'm trying to learn everything I can and become a really good runner. And it's been working out. It feels really good to have the runners on the team. Every Tuesday when there's a practice, they say, hey, man, I saw that run you did on Strava. Way to go, man. And, I really do think I'll actually be able to compete and do half marathons soon, because this is my 3rd half marathon. I did a 17-mile run on Sunday. I've already run 30 miles in the last 3 days, and I know tomorrow I'm going to be fine. My knees are fine, Cool. So 2 hours and 7 minutes. That's my new personal record for a half marathon. That's 13 miles. And I guess 1 minute and 20 seconds is my new record for a 400 meter, which is quarter mile. So hypothetically speaking, if I was able to keep doing that for 4 times longer, then I could run a mile in, 5 minutes and 20 seconds. But there's no way I could keep running that fast for an entire mile. There's no way. So that's really just a 400 meter record. Cool. So anyway, after the run practice was over, one of the dudes was running laps on the track, so I chatted with him about chemistry and sales for 10 minutes, and then he went home. And I said, nothing hurts. Why stop now? So I kept running and running and running around the track. I must have done like 13 or 16 laps, I don't know. And topped it off at a half marathon, 13.38 miles, 2 hours ran. I guess 9 minutes, 7 seconds average pace. But keep in mind that these 13 miles, these 2 hours, this pace, all that, that's with, I guess, 950 feet of elevation gain. I ran up a dam 6 times. I did 4 1-minute sprints at basically a sprinting speed, trying to keep up with one of the fastest runners on the entire team. I mean, this wasn't just like a competition where the whole race is the same pace and there's nothing challenging. This was tough. So, feel great. All right, so besides that, I just wanted to say to the Anon who made this, I swear to you, I'm going to order this in the mail. I'm going to use my Photoshop skills. I mean, I don't literally use Photoshop. I use a program for mobile called Pocket and Procreate. Pocket is just the mobile version of Procreate, although you could argue that since Procreate is for tablets, that it's technically mobile as well, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna make some kind of picture out of this using my editing skills, and I'm gonna frame it on my wall because you know what, this means a lot to me. Whichever one of you anonymous fatsos out there on the internet that made this for me. I was fat too once, and I know sometimes you guys get annoyed that I hang out in your, fat people support group forum, but the way I see it, I was fat too, and I still need all of the advice that is talked about in there. All it takes for me is letting go of all the discipline and training that I've taught myself over the last 8 months, and I'll immediately regain all the weight. Like we all know, even if we lose the weight, we're still fatties on the inside. I still have all those tendencies. I still want to eat all the food. I still have to calorie count. A lot of self-control every day to maintain this. So things like this, when someone takes the time out of their day to make something like this for me, it's extremely motivating. So I swear to you, I am gonna frame this on my wall. And with that, I actually want to share something special. I'm gonna go get it real quick. So I'm gonna cover my name because anonymous, but someone made this for me back when I was working at the pool, and I was basically had finally made my mind up that I was gonna learn how to be a programmer. And so this girl, I took her on a date, but the date did not go well. It did not go well. It was a very bad date. But she went out on the date with me anyway. And so she drew this for me. So, because she saw me at the pool every day working as a lifeguard and a swim teacher, and I would talk to them and the patrons, the regulars, and tell them about what I was learning about programming and such. And so I think I told her, like, hey, I'm planning on quitting soon, and I'd been there for 5 years. And so she knew me pretty decently, and we'd gone on a date at that point, and like plenty of the people at the pool knew me. And so one day she brought this. Good luck, my name. And there I am with a laptop coding in a pool lane line. Those are supposed to be the floating lane lines that demarcate the lanes. So you can imagine that if this was, well, it was a pool, this is exactly what it looked like. We had these diving boards that the kids would dive off of for swim teaching. And they would stay in their lane, and we had like 8 lanes, and we'd teach swim classes in the lanes. This was like the adult pool. There was a children's pool where I spent most of my time because I was better with the kids. I had a lot of energy, so I could keep the kids happy. And when the kids are happy, they don't cry about being in the pool. So I was really, really good with the younger kids. But sometimes I would lifeguard on the big pool and teach classes in the big pool. And anyway, she drew this little crappy picture for me, but it really meant a lot to me because it kind of like summarized my life in that moment. And so I put it in a frame, and I've had it framed like this for, I don't know, 8 years? I don't know. So, but something pretty simple, but it meant a lot to me. It's special. So to the anonymous person on the internet that made this for me, what you made for me kind of means it's the same thing as this to me. Now, granted, this was made by a very attractive young woman that I took on a date that failed horribly that I knew for 5 years. So obviously this means more to me. But I'm going to frame this, man. Just like I framed this, I'm going to frame that. Thanks, man.